Hey folks and friends, welcome home. I'm Madison Canary, your sour beer queer, and I am back in hot, humid, I guess beautiful Orange County, bringing you an at-home beer review. So if you are in the know, then you know that I just got back from 3 days in Portland. My brother lives up in Portland. I love the Pacific Northwest, lots of family from the area, and I really love going up there. As over the years, as I've also developed a love and passion for sour beer, I've loved going up to Portland because I feel, is one of the sour beer capitals of America. The more I get into sour beer, the more I see that there is a really strong, beautiful presence of sours in kind of more the eastern side, and I cannot wait to get over there and explore all the amazing breweries that I keep finding. But for right now, kind of the easiest and most logical for me to get to is Portland, and they have been serving me some really delicious sour beers. So you can go out and check my live review, live at Modern Times Fermentorium. I'll also be posting some reviews of Cascade Brewing that I'm having shipped down here, and Upright Brewing that I'm having shipped down here. So those will be coming out over the next couple of days. But on the way home, I helped myself to some duty-free beer. So I picked up 2 beers at the airport. So because they're at the airport too, before I dive into the taste test, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Sours, I believe, are best when they are in the fridge and kept in the fridge. These were sitting out, and I don't know if they were ever refrigerated. If they were refrigerated and then unrefrigerated again, they probably are not going to be at their peak, at their prime. But I figured I'd still give them a whirl, especially considering it was half the price to buy up there than it is to buy down here, especially once you consider shipping. So, with that being said, one of the beers that I picked up was Ching Sour Ale. So this is pomegranate and hibiscus, and this is by Bend Brewing Company, which apparently is established in 1995. Congratulations, Bend Brewing Company. Well done. So I did a little Google search of these guys, because these are not ones that I got to visit while I was up there, not one that I've ever been to personally. And they are just a sour beer reviewer's dream, because they have a cute little article about everything that I am to expect from their Ching sour beer. So I'm very excited to report that this is a German Pilsner and wheat malt base. They then add, boil it in the sour kettle. More about that in a second. Then add house lacto culture. They do organic hibiscus in the whirlpool to give it color and a little bit of flavor, but then add the pomegranate juice in the fermenter to really finish it off with that strong pomegranate flavor. So when I say more on that later, this led me to really doing some research around what kettle sours are versus spontaneous fermentation. As you may know by now, one of the catchphrases of this channel is spontaneous fermentation and fluid sexuality. Anyways, I very much am a fan of spontaneous fermentation. And truly, up until this point, you guys are learning right along with me, I did not realize that we were brought sour beers by any other means. So apparently, spontaneous fermentation happens in barrels. This process is going to happen in a wooden barrel. It's going to take anywhere from months to years for the beer to spontaneously ferment and create the amazing flavors and bouquets that we are used to out of a lot of sour beers. Whereas kettle souring is going to be a much shorter process. So this is going to be a couple of days. And what they'll do is in this kettle, they will actually boil the beer. And then instead of waiting for it to cool, they'll add the lactobacillus to it, which will then cause the souring and fermentation. It'll cause that process of turning the sugars into lactic acid and into that sour flavor. Obviously, anytime anyone takes an easier way out, there's going to be the haters. From what I can tell, those who take the time and the craftsmanship to spontaneously brew aren't big fans of these kettle sourers that are just taking the process and turning it into a couple days. What I'm told I can expect of the difference here is that this is going to be much more sour, a much less developed flavor. That's what I'm being told, but you never know. So I've actually heard that this can sometimes be a more popular brewing style for Goza, which I've been studying over the last week, and Berliner Weiss, which I'm sure we will get around to talking more about in coming weeks. These are usually more popular for this style because it makes them more sour, which is what you're looking for. Usually on a Goza, what I expect is for it to be really sour, really lemony, really salty. It doesn't need to have this big bouquet of experience that I might expect out of a traditional, just like sour ale. What does traditional even mean in this context? I don't know. But, yeah, that's what I learned about kettle souring, and I don't know, I don't have an opinion yet. Like, I feel like I am too new into this whole world for me to be like, oh, kettle souring, I don't know. I definitely stick to my tagline of spontaneous fermentation. I definitely would say so far I prefer it, but I'm also realizing I don't know how many kettled sours I've had over the years. So, there you go. Let's dive in, shall we? Oops. As you all know, the first sip is in no way scientific. It's purely meant for pleasure. So let's see what's going on here. You can definitely tell that it was room temperature and then cooled. That's what I usually experience when I get these big heads. I'm seeing the, oh wait, I'm having a flashback. I also am realizing that you get bigger, longer heads off of Goza style beers. So I'm wondering, correlation, causation, might have something to do with kettle souring? Google. I don't have Google hooked up. I don't like the government listening to me. Anyways, I'm getting a nice, long, strong head, still undetermined exactly why. And let's see what I'm getting on the nose. I'm getting cranberry. I'm getting pure cranberry. This says pomegranate and hibiscus. I guess it could be hibiscus. It's kind of that like, it almost smells red. To me, cranberries almost smell red. They're like bright but flat. Now that the head's starting to go down, let's see what's happening here. Okay, I definitely get it. I definitely get it. So that article that I was reading was talking about how spontaneous fermentation develops more of the flavors overall. Kettle souring gives you more of just that sour punch. I'm definitely getting the sour punch. Yeah, like I get a little hibiscus, maybe a little bit of pomegranate, but also both of those aren't very sweet already, which I think is really smart if you know that your beer is going to already lean towards sour, to not try to overwhelm it with something super sweet or super fruity. I think it's actually a really smart way to go. I think what they did here is they took the sour profile and they just added to it instead of trying to mask it or balance it, because I'm getting just real pure awesome sourness from it. And the hibiscus is a very astringent flower. It's a very astringent flavor, as are cranberries, and so astringent and sour are going to be very complementary on the palate and very close to each other on the palate. Do I sound fancy? I feel fancy. Yeah, I definitely am getting that all you get here is sour. Now, you come to the right place if you want someone who loves nothing but sour. I'm your girl. So I like it. I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely going to finish it. I also definitely now need to go to Bend. Because I need to go to Bend and have this on draft and have the full experience, clearly. So, if we want to talk friendliness scale, yet again, these guys over at Bend Brewing have already done my job for me. I thought I made up the friendliness scale, but alas. Description. You know that guy who has been drinking the same IPA for the last decade? Claims he tried a sour beer 5 years ago and has hated them ever since? It's time to change his mind with Ching. Sounds like an advertisement for a prostitute. It's time to change his mind. Ching will do it. Ching has been converting the non-sour drinkers since before you were born. It's a bright and refreshing sour ale that is a perfect mix of pomegranate and hibiscus. Quick problem. Why do you assume it's a man? Why do you assume it has a gender identity at all? Just saying. Second problem. Since before you were born. That's not true. We're not going to go into details, but I was born before 1995. What they're trying to tell me is that this sour beer would convert someone. And I personally believe it would give them a little bit of a cold shoulder. If I'm going to say something is friendly, if I'm going to say this is going to convert somebody, I'm going to need it to be a little sweeter, a little more open, a little more dynamic, if you will. You know, I don't think this beer is doing missionary work for sours, but I love me some cold shoulder, and I love me some super sour beers. So I'm a fan, and I can't wait to finish it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoyed my beer review of Ching Sour Ale, Pomegranate and Hibiscus by Bend Brewing Company. Be sure to subscribe. I release new videos every Tuesday and Friday. And join me over on Instagram. I am the Sour Beer Queer. So let me know your comments, your ideas, your recommendations, all of it. I am here for it. Have a great rest of your day.